Okay, so either way you can do it. Here I haven't unset them or done a lot of other things because I'm just sort of trying to demonstrate some of these basic elements. Okay, so now what we're focusing on here is using these methods: do entry, do display, and do find, do update. And it's not that much different from what we've been doing all along. In fact, it's very simple. And what I wanted you to really take a look at is how simple they can be. Now here we have data entry with the username and the points, and what we do with this one is that we use the insert into, and this name and this points was passed to us from the client in uname and points. However, the client first had to take them out of the superglobals. If we just wanted to have inner data without passing parameters, we could have taken them out of the superglobals at this point instead. Either way works, whichever you feel more comfortable with and that you like better. I really like the idea of passing the variables from the superglobals to some kind of property of the client, and then the client passes on in a request, and then unsetting all of the superglobals at the level of the client. That seems to be a lot safer way of doing things, but with it, it's sort of hard to see in these little programs that we're using because there's so little to them. Okay, so that was the data entry. We passed it from the client. Data display. Here is such a simple little routine. Most of the work we do is in this little try clause where we have all these things we want to print out in a nice way. And data find is another one. Now we pass this one as a parameter. Again, we could have had the search variable come through a super global, but we can do it by passing a parameter. And here we have select. Now this is sort of a interesting approach, and some people use this, and some people have something else. For example, I could have had, instead of select everything, I could have had select uname from this table master where uname equal this search. Either way works. With a search element, I really generally like to name the parts that I need, but other developers like to use the wildcard, and so it gives them a more a more complete search. For example, you might want to select everything and then find out 2 or 3 different features of a record to be returned. So either way makes sense. I don't think it's not a world ender or anything wildly brilliant. And final, this one we looked at already. Here we waited until we got out to the implementation of handling the update, and then we pass it to variables from the superglobals, and then we do the update here based on superglobal data taken at this level. Okay, and then we have this little CSS in there. Okay, so starting here, we put the methods here, and all of these methods are for the client, for within the client. So the client, it makes it easy for the client to call what it wants. And notice we don't have to use, within the client, we don't have to use any conditional statements. If I haven't said so before, I probably have implied it that I'm not crazy about conditional statements unless we absolutely have to use them. The reason for that isn't that there's anything inherently wrong with conditional statements, and we all use them. but it simplifies life so much not to use them. When you come to update something and you have to wind your way through a lot of conditional statements, it's sort of messy. So this technique of making the HTML do its share of the work certainly takes a lot off of these off of the client and some of these other ones. So anyhow, this is a simple example: injection attacks. Just a few precautions taken in your book, and even those are only mildly necessary because of the MySQL. And another defense against rejection attacks, we all get those, I guess. But an injection attack is where somebody enters something into one of those open windows like a text field. So if you minimize those or get rid of them altogether, if you could, that'll help stop them. There's another thing. You can take to stop an injection attack, when the client can filter input into the values, and this is another thing it can do, and then only pass to the database what it has already filtered itself. Okay. All of these files and everything forth, these are all available on Blackboard. Go ahead, remember that you want to create your own implementation of this, and you can use all of the files on Blackboard except for one, and that's your iConnect info one. And so really all you have to do is change the values in the iInfo Connect interface, and everything ought to work fine on Thor on your system. That's it. Bye-bye.